We were all just talking during the break, like, what is going on with these folks? Because House Republicans are trying again. After meeting behind closed doors for most of the day, just a short time ago, they nominated the Judiciary Committee Chairman, Jim Jordan of Ohio, for Speaker. Here's the problem, though. He doesn't have the votes, not even close to it right now, to actually become the Speaker of the House. The divisions within the Republican Party are playing out for all to see, and there appears to be a dividing line here. According to a new poll, 56% of those who support Donald Trump say it was the right decision to have Kevin McCarthy removed as Speaker, but that number is significantly less, 37% among Republicans who aren't Trump's supporter. Chris Stirewalt, break it down for us.
So 32% of the Republican Party in this poll supported removing Kevin McCarthy, but they are not evenly distributed across the Republican Party. They cluster up, obviously, among Donald Trump supporters. And it tells you about the division inside the Republican Party. The vote being reported by outlets inferior to Bob's. So we'll just take it with a grain of salt until the Hill reports it. But 152 to 55, okay. That would leave Jim Jordan 50 votes short.
Maybe 70.
I'm sorry,
like
70 votes short.
Yeah.
So the reality is now for the institutionalists, the normies in the House, the people who lost with McCarthy and lost with Scalise, are they going to keep, now it's up to them to keep the chaos going, because right. What they're supposed to do is roll over now and go with the guy who won the majority of the party. So are they ready to keep the fight going? I don't know, because that's not generally how they roll.
So we sit here and dunk on Republicans for the moment, but they're not the only ones.
No, I'm dunking all over.
Because, okay, then I'll throw it up. Here's the alley-oop. Talk to me about Democrats.
Well, here, I thought this was good and not to be a media critic, because media criticism is the lowest form of journalism. But here is, in the CNN poll, it was the headline, that this is hurting Republicans. This is hurting Americans. Have a negative impression of the GOP, and it's down this year. It's down since the speaker fight started, 52%. That's pretty bad, right? Pretty bad. But how are the Democrats doing? Must be much better. Let's see. Ta-da! Can we get a ta-da on the next graphic?
There we go.
Oh, it's 1 point better. Oh, it's 1 point better. So it doesn't matter. I think Ford alluded to this earlier. I think it's very true. Most Americans don't care whether Jim Jordan or Steve Scalise or whatever's going on. But here's the caution for the Republicans long term, and here's why Jim Jordan has a problem on Monday. Everybody else in that conference knows what the next year looks like with Jim Jordan as Speaker. Running interference for Donald Trump on his criminal investigations, going after the Biden family, and shutting down the government. If you're in one of the 45 districts in the country that are competitive, or you're trying to win the presidency, that's not the House Republican conference that you want. You want to get on with it and get going. So the Republicans face a difficult challenge.
So now there's going to be a vote on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern to just sort of maybe see who might be the next Speaker of the House. Bob Cusack, you're the editor-in-chief of The Hill. I don't know the answer to the question I'm about to ask you.
I know you're going to ask a tough one.
Do you know who the next speaker is going to be?
No.
And you're the editor-in-chief of The Hill?
No.
And that's where we are.
No, you don't. I mean, I agree with Chris's analysis, other than you can't say ta-da unless you're doing a magic trick.
Yeah, well, it is. Television is magic, Bob. Television is magic.
I think a lot of the centrists who are in tough re-elections, remember 18 Republicans from Biden districts, that you can't vote for Jim Jordan. I don't think they can. But this is a test vote to see how many they have to work. And it's going to be clearly in the dozens, I think.
And I think, and I'm going to put Bob on the spot to agree with me here, which is how many times the Republicans can fail at this before there becomes an agreement behind a consensus, boring caretaker speaker. That's what they ended up with long ago with Denny Hastert. And maybe that's where they go. But how long do they have to stay in the barrel and take this beating before they say, okay, well, we'll just let some factotum go in there who's just going to count votes and not really try to drive.
And maybe it's McHenry, who's the interim speaker now. You never know.
He's got the bow tie. He's ready.
But the question, I mean, I asked one of my friends who's Problem Solvers Caucus Democrat in the House, and I said, you know, is there any discussion going on here? And the problem is, he said the Republicans haven't come to them for anything. So those 16 vulnerable House Republicans, you know, if they want a solution, there are Democrats willing to give them that.
Real quick, Ford.
Well, the bottom line is, I don't know who the next speaker is going to be, but eventually those 45 normies that you're talking about who are in swing districts, they're going to give in. And they may even very well give it to Jim Jordan. The question is, when will Republicans be forced to have a speaker when it actually hurts them in the polls? And as of now, it's not.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.